you guys. So we're going to take a look at the most recent article here in Entertainment Weekly involving the reveal of Rey's parents, or what information will be revealed to us in episode 8 in regards to Rey's parents. This is an article that was written by Anthony, and I hope I pronounced the last name correctly, Bresnakan. And he actually shot a short video in regards to this story. So we're going to take a look at this short story right now. So let's get a look at this, guys.
Important in the Star Wars mythology and in The Last Jedi, we may finally find out who Rey's parents are, where she comes from, and what her story is. Hey guys, I'm Anthony Bresnick, and I wrote the new cover story about The Last Jedi. Although we cannot answer the question that has been burning up fans for a couple of years now: who are Rey's family? Where does she come from? What is her backstory?
What is her backstory? What is her origin?
At all. But as she tries to forge a future for herself as a potential Jedi or Force wielder, director and writer Rian Johnson tells me that yes, indeed, this film is going to answer a part, at least a little bit, about where she comes from.
A part of
all we know
where she
right
comes
now
from. We're not going to get the whole
Rey was
reveal,
abandoned on
unfortunately.
Jakku as a child when she was too young to remember anything, and she's been trying to figure out who she is and where she belongs ever since. In the last movie, The Force Awakens, she made a lot of fast friends. You know, BB-8, Finn, even Han Solo sort of welcomed her aboard the Millennium Falcon and invited her to become a member of the crew. She is facing down her ultimate hero, Luke Skywalker, who doesn't necessarily want to train her, does not want to know her, does not want to be pulled back into the action. To define who she is, she has to figure out where she came from. But the interesting thing about Star Wars is, just because you come from a certain background does not mean that it defines your future or your destiny. Luke Skywalker and Leia Organa are the children of Darth Vader, yet they became these forces of light in the galaxy. Kylo Ren is the son of Han Solo and Leia Organa, yet he is an ultimate evil there. So it's important for Rey to find out who she is, but that doesn't mean it's going to change
who she is. I like that. I like that. So very, very cool short video right there. And we're going to get right into the article and everything that is there on the article there, guys, in just a moment. But I wanted to discuss this real briefly here in regards to what type of reveal we're going to get in regards to Rey's parents. Now, obviously, we've heard all of the rumors or speculation to what her lineage is. A Skywalker, a Kenobi, possibly even a Bridger, being the daughter of Ezra and Sabine, which probably is the most unlikely scenario. There was once a theory that she was a descendant of Palpatine, which for me is actually one of the more interesting theories. And if there was some way to make that connection, I think that would be awesome, because you would have Ben Solo, who is under the Skywalker lineage, but not a true Skywalker. And then you have Rey, who would potentially be the descendant of Palpatine, yet they've kind of flipped sides, so to speak, if you think about it. So that would be a very interesting dynamic. However, getting back to Kylo and being a Skywalker, who is related to the Skywalker, but he is not a Skywalker in my view. I know whenever it's mentioned that this is a Skywalker saga, and someone says, so that Rey has to be Luke's daughter because it's a Skywalker saga, people are quick to say, well, Ben Solo is a Skywalker. No, he's not a Skywalker. He is a Solo. And in my opinion, but that is a matter of debate among Star Wars fans. And I don't believe that this saga is going to center around Ben Solo being a part of the Skywalker family. And then the other thing that I've maintained this since the first time I saw the scene in The Force Awakens. When he killed Han Solo, there was no redemption for Kylo Ren. I don't want to see Kylo Ren redeemed. I want to see him defeated. He is the ultimate evil. He killed one of the most beloved characters in this saga, and I don't think there's any coming back from that. I just don't. So we'll see how that goes. I could be totally wrong about that, but that's just my opinion. But if you guys have a different opinion, go ahead and put that down in the comments. I will respond to that and present my arguments and listen to your arguments, and we'll have a very healthy debate about that. Anyway, great short video there in regards to this. And one of the other things I wanted to mention here, there's been a lot of talk ever since The Force Awakens and this whole thing about Rey's parents and her lineage has come up. There is a sentiment among the Star Wars fan community that having Rey related to a Kenobi or a Skywalker or someone that we are familiar with in this saga would be shrinking the universe. I totally disagree with that, and I'm going to give an example why I believe that is. Star Trek, which I am also a fan of that franchise, and forgive me if any Star Wars fans are offended that I'm speaking Star Trek here in this video, but I'm doing it for comparison reasons. Now, within the Star Trek universe, you have many spin-offs and many characters that have been introduced, new captains, new crew members, new species. You've had all of these new characters in expansion of the universe. You had Deep Space Nine. You had The Last Generation. There's one other series that gosh, I forget the last series that came out with the crew that was lost, thrown into a vortex, and they were lost through time and space, and they were trying to get back to their particular time and place. And I forget the name of that series specifically. Now, the reason why I bring all of that up is because you can also dilute the universe by expanding it so quickly and so fast without developing the main characters that you've already put in place in the universe. We don't have any background on Finn. We don't have any background on Rey. We don't know Han Solo background all that much, even though that's going to be explored in the standalone. But we've yet to explore his background. My point is that until you make a connection with all of these characters, and they have to connect somehow. It's just like Game of Thrones. I'm going to throw in another property in there that's not Star Wars. But Game of Thrones, there is connections between the different kingdoms and the bastards and what have you. But there's a connection, and when fans see that connection and they feel that connection, Jon Snow is the cousin of Daenerys, or he's the bastard child of such and such. But when you see those connections, it gives you a closeness to that character and a better understanding of that character. So if Rey was to turn out to be a Skywalker or a Kenobi, that would endear her to the fans even more, because she is a descendant of a character that we love, and she's gonna take that and we're gonna carry it with her through the rest of her time through the franchise. And I think it's important to establish those connections. Now, again, I understand the thought on shrinking the universe and everyone knows everybody and everybody's related. Okay, I understand that. I'm not saying go overboard with it and have John Boyega or Finn's character related to Lando, and no, we don't need to do all that. But there needs to be some type of connective tissue with these new characters that will make the fans who have been with the franchise for over 40 years, that will give them some type of connection and closeness to these new characters. So if it turns out that Rey is a Kenobi, we can say, oh man, she's a Kenobi. Oh my gosh, I'm going to root for her even more because I'm a big Kenobi fan, or I'm a big Skywalker fan, and she's a Skywalker. So, and I apologize, guys, for ranting on about this, but that's just my feeling on the whole shrinking of the universe by having Rey related to the Skywalkers or Kenobi or any other known character in the Star Wars universe. Yes, you do need to have new characters. You need to introduce new characters and expand the universe. I agree with all of that. But just like with the Force, there should be a even balance between the two. And hopefully the writers understand that, and they will give us that connective tissue for us to get even closer to Rey. I definitely root for Rey, and I love her character and I feel for her. But if you make her a Kenobi, or if you make her a Skywalker, or even if you make her I'm forgetting Palpatine's last name, but if you make her a descendant of Emperor Palpatine, that's gonna draw me in, because I'm like, ooh, okay, her lineage is there's something there with her lineage. So what is she gonna do? You know, and it just makes the character that much stronger, in my opinion. And again, this is just my opinion, guys. But I would like to know what your opinion is on that. Does making Rey a Kenobi or a Skywalker or a descendant of Palpatine shrink the universe in your determination, or do you feel like I feel that there should be some type of connection to Rey that would endear us to her even more than we already are? So those are my thoughts on that, guys, but we're going to get into this article, so let's get started. The mystery was introduced in The Force Awakens when Daisy Ridley's desert scavenger touched the ancestral Skywalker lightsaber and saw a series of visions, including a starship abandoning a much younger version of herself on the junkyard world of Jakku. Now, The Last Jedi will finally resolve the question that fans have been debating for 2 years. This article obviously won't spoil anything. The theory I'm holding on to is still this one. But in EU's interview for our cover story on The Last Jedi, writer and director Rian Johnson did offer his thoughts on a related question. How much does Rey's past matter? Or is this a tangent fans have obsessed over unnecessarily? To me, it's important insofar as it's important to her, Johnson says. And I think it's important to her in terms of what her place is in all of this. What's going to define her in this story? She was told in the last movie, is the answer's not in the past, it's looking forward. But she's showing up on this island to talk to this hero from the past. Let's pause for a line from Eugene O'Neill's A Moon for the Misbegotten. There is no present or future, only the past, happening over and over again. If Rey understands her origin, it can be a map for her future, a guide to avoiding whatever fears or mistakes have come before. In that way, Johnson says Rey does need to know, and so do we. You can be told the answer is not in the past, but I think she still has a lingering hope that she's going to find the thing that's going to say, this is where you belong. This is where you are. I think she still holds on to the thought that where she comes from will help define where she is going. Ridley says Rey will ultimately find the answer and discover that it doesn't matter that much. It won't change who she is, or at least who she wants to be. You can always look for the answers, and that doesn't mean that the rest of your life is so easy. It's not. Like, oh, I know who my parents are now. Everything falls into shape, especially in the Star Wars world, the actress says. Anakin Skywalker had a loving mother, but became the galactic warlord Darth Vader. Luke and Leia are the children of Vader, but have fought tirelessly for good and decency. Ben Solo was the son of Han and Leia, but lost his way and fell into the darkness like his grandfather before. Family gives you the starting point, but the destination is a matter of choice. Still, Ridley agrees that Rey needs to find out about her lineage, at least so she can stop wondering. Yes, it would potentially change her mind, or at least give her a bit more peace in moving forward. But ultimately, what's coming is coming, and whatever abilities she has are there. So personally, I think it's less important that even she may think. One thing Ridley said to expect from The Last Jedi is that no one falls easily onto the good or bad side. There is always potential to change, for better and for worse. What's wonderful is it's not so cut and dry. Who's good, who's bad, and that's not me saying, oh God, some people are going to go bad. Ridley says, there's always room for bad people to make good decisions, and vice versa. Again, that could be nothing to do with your parents, and it could be everything to do with your parents. There's also another new figure in the Star Wars saga who has uncertain origins, but fans haven't latched on to theories about him the way that they have with Rey. And that's also true. No one has discussed Finn's family mystery, which actually should be a very good video topic, as a matter of fact. But continuing on with the article, all we know about John Boyega's ex-stormtrooper Finn is that he was expendable for the First Order, probably less valuable than the white armor he wore into battle. He was a child soldier taken from wherever he was from and conscripted into their fastest military operation. He didn't even have a name, just numerals and a number, FN217. Will we find out more about Finn's family? Yeah, definitely, Boyega tells EW, but it's not explored in depth in episode 8. But he definitely has a past that is troubled. I don't know how all that's going to play out. It sounds like more about Finn may be forthcoming in episode 9, but the actors suggested that The Last Jedi will explore the character's recent history. We will learn more about his past and where he came from, and potentially why he made the decision to escape that he made, Boyega says. I'm also very curious. The question that needs to be answered is why he decided to leave as a stormtrooper in the first place. We will find out just a bit more about him. Even though they are separated for much of the film, Finn and Rey remain on somewhat parallel journeys of self-discovery. So this goes back to something that I mentioned in another video that I actually haven't put up yet at this particular moment, but I had mentioned that Finn and Rey probably will not be spending a lot of time with each other. We're probably going to be jumping around from Luke and Rey to Finn and Rose, and then back over to General Organa and Poe. So I think we're going to be traveling to different areas in this film and following multiple characters doing a variety of different things and missions. And that particular last line there speaks directly to that. So the big thematic push and pull in the movie is the past and what role the past has in moving us forward into the future, Johnson said. All right, so guys, there is our article there on family in regards to Rey and Finn. I like the fact that the article asks a question that none of us, I haven't heard it in any of the Star Wars threads or Star Wars groups that I'm a part of. No one has mentioned anything about exploring Finn's past and who his parents are and where he comes from, and the fact that they are going to address that a little bit here in episode 8, it gets me even more excited for this film. So guys, I want to know what your thoughts are in regards to what we've just seen here and heard here in relation to not only Rey's lineage and her parents and what we're going to be exposed to in regards to that, but what are your thoughts in regards to Finn's family history and his past and background, and also like the article addressed, his decision to leave the First Order. For all we know, the First Order has been the only thing that he has known. So what drove him to run from the First Order or leave the First Order? What was it that helped him break his training, so to speak? So I think that I love this article because it asks a very, very interesting question, one that I was not expecting to be asked in this particular article. So great stuff by Entertainment Weekly. All right, guys. So I want to know what your thoughts are in regards to all of this good information that we just got from the Entertainment Weekly article. Put those comments down below. I will be checking and responding to those comments, guys. So I want to thank you very much for watching this video. Please like and subscribe. And from the Father to the Son to the Obi-Wan Force Ghost, may the Force be with you always.